Sorry. Hello and welcome. Good evening, everybody. You know it's a requirement when the song is playing to be dancing. My name is Turmentic,
and I am Mike CNO,
and this is Let's Talk MetaZoo. Tonight we have the one, the only, the amazing Afton. Hello, Afton. Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here. I love doing interviews.
But yeah, let me move some car. I have too much stuff on my desk. Sorry, I didn't realize it. I was knocking stuff over. Anyway, we're going to find out a little bit about Chibi Afton, what got her into art, and talk MetaZoo, figure out what her favorite beastie is. But first, before we start, I have to ask you, what is your favorite cryptid and why is it Squonk?
Well, you kind of backed me into a corner. I like being in this corner. I actually I did a few like concept sketches of Squonk recently, and I was like, oh my god, it reminds me, like Squonk reminds me of my dog. I don't think I've posted her on my Instagram a couple times, like on my stories, but she's just like this really like sad, wrinkly little creature sometimes, and she'll look back and she's got like 6 neck wrinkles at me, and I'm like, it's a Squonk. I have one. So it got me. Before I was like, oh, Squonk, haha, you know, the meme or whatever. And now that I have that little connection, I like it a lot more.
Awesome.
I'll post a picture on Instagram after this of her like incredibly Squonk.
I'm very curious now to see this. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about Chibi Afton. Where were you from? Like, when did you get into art? All that sort of stuff.
So I'm from Atlanta. I lived in Texas for 5 or 6 years, and I'm back here now. I went there for school and then ended up staying a little bit longer. So I'm back in Atlanta now. In terms of art, my mom and I were just talking about it the other day, actually. I would get in trouble in preschool because we'd have like, you know, our different stations. So you'd have like the computer station, the art station, whatever, and then we'd have to go out for recess. And I was always getting in trouble and getting sent to like the bad kid chair because I wouldn't go outside for recess. I'd still like be doing my projects and like messing around with like the glue or whatever else. So I've always definitely have always really liked art. Didn't really consider that it could be something that I do for a living. It was more like a hope. It's like maybe someday I'll do it. But I pursued a different path in terms of college and like my career initially. And then luckily I found out about MetaZoo. And as fate would have it, I'm an artist now. So
nice. Well, what did you end up actually going to school for?
So I did occupational therapy, which undergraduate is like psych pre-OT. So I was going to do I was working for an OT before I moved back here, and then I was going to do my master's. And then I was working a different job, and I found out about MetaZoo, and I saw their art, and I started doing some fan art and stuff. And then they announced that I was one of the new artists, so I immediately quit my other job and was like, no master's degree here, no nothing. Like I'm going to be an artist. So.
Oh wow! So you just completely pivoted as soon as it was announced.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's awesome.
I didn't know beforehand. I saw the announcement because I had been doing they'd given me a couple requests and stuff in terms of like testing to see if I'd be a good fit and stuff. And I didn't want to ask, you know, like you do after a job interview or whatever, like you do the one follow-up and then, you know, you kind of just let it sit. So I was like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. And then I saw the announcement and I was, it was awesome. Called my mom immediately, but.
So how long have you actually been drawing? Like, when did you really kind of want to start focusing on art when you were younger?
So I don't know how I did it. I think I was basically like, I'm not going to do a different class. I took art all 4 years of high school. It was supposed to be an elective. And they were like, you got to do another elective. And I was like, nope. So I took it for 4 years. And I spent a lot of time in that classroom, just kind of hanging out and stuff. And then when I was in college, I was going to go to art school. And then it was kind of like, you know, spending all that money on a degree. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything with it. So I decided to go a different way. And in college, you couldn't take, I went to Texas A&M and you couldn't take art classes unless you were an art major. I couldn't take any classes. Couldn't really do
Wow.
anything. So it's kind of something I did like just as a pastime. I did. I worked for. I don't know if anybody watching is familiar with School of Rock, not the movie, the music school. But I got a job working for them, not as like a music teacher, but as a muralist. And I was like, oh, finally, like I get to do something with art, right? So I painted their little kids' music room, and then was kind of doing art around the building and stuff. So I kind of did stuff on the side, always kind of thinking like, this is always going to be like a kind of more of a hobby. But I'm stoked to be I'm stoked to be a professional artist now. I'm so happy.
So what what set did you? So what was your first MetaZoo set, and what was the first card that you drew for MetaZoo officially?
So my first set was Wilderness. And I think I started when we were in like week 2 or something of the list. So my first card was the first like art I did was the Ding Bell on Mars for the C2E2, that promo. And then the first art in Wilderness was, I think the first art of mine that was ever spoiled too, was the Chibi Playground. So
No, that's the poncho one. Oh, I got my first actual Ding Bell promo from 2021 the other day, and I couldn't remember which one it was, and I got really excited for a second.
I think he did the MegaCon, and he did another one too.
The Chibi Playground, anytime my daughter and I would open Wilderness, anytime she would find a Chibi Playground, she'd put it to the side and say, I got to keep that one. I got to keep that. She has a stack of them.
I love that.
She freaking loves that card. Yeah. Chibi Playground, man. Let me, and the rate. So when I built the overlay, so I can tell you now, when that unicorn pin, when that was released, my daughter lost her mind. And she can talk me into things really easily. So I had to buy her one at the hype of it. So it's pretty freaking expensive, but that is like, she loves that freaking pin so much that
it was funny because even when he was actually ripping on the island, he was saying if like somebody actually pulled it, he was going to buy it from them.
And
but
I did.
He seriously searching for that pin.
That's one of the things that makes me happiest too, especially hearing about there's a lot. I mean, no surprise, but there's a lot of little girls, especially people in our community that have daughters that love unicorns, and that was me growing up. So hearing that kind of thing anytime just makes me, it's like it's going on to the next generation, and I'm, I get to share that with another generation of people. I was gonna put it on my bed, actually. I have like giant unicorns in my closet here from when I was a kid.
That would have been awesome.
I forgot, but I was I'm wearing a unicorn necklace for the stream, actually. So it's like
That's awesome.
so now I'm sure we lead into what's your favorite beastie.
Yeah, there we go.
That is a good actual segue. So first off, basis, what is your favorite beastie across the board? Not even one that you've drawn, or just across the board. What's your favorite one?
Oh yeah, definitely unicorn. Just because it's something that I like. I genuinely, okay, I can still say it now as like a meme or whatever, but like when I was a kid, I genuinely thought unicorns were real. So now kind of getting to make it real in a way. And I love, like, that was one of the first arts I saw when I became an artist, because some of the Wilderness art was already done, and I saw the unicorn card and I was like, it's so good. So drawing it is really, really fun. And just, if we do the show, I think if I saw the unicorn like animated in our show, I'm going to get emotional the first time I see something like that.
So you would say then that's probably is that your favorite one that you've drawn?
Well, so Seb designed him, which I'm like,
okay, that's true. Yeah.
I love the unicorn's design. My favorite one that I've done, that's tough. I really like Sky Snake. I like the chibis. Anything cute, really, like the little like trickster guy from Native. I like the little babies. Those are a lot of fun. Because they're like kind of like my babies when you create them, right? Like they're like your little babies. So
do you get like, and I know we've asked this question before, but do they kind of, I guess, focus you more? I see you and Lily do a lot of the cute ones. Do they?
Yeah.
I mean, is that intentional?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on like everybody has kind of preferences, which we were talking about it, I think recently, maybe like a month or two ago. It's like, man, we should probably try do different aura types, or we should try like mixing it up a little bit. Because I like to do usually light or forest. Jet is like the forest gal with like Cumberland and everything. Poncho's, of course, like dark spirit. So we're like, should we switch it up? Like we kind of gravitate like towards the same thing. But when anybody does do anything different, it's cool to see like the flexibility there in terms of like anybody being able to really do anything, you know? But yeah, we definitely do have like our little comfort auras or comfort types of beasties that we like to do.
What do you think is because I mean, like, besides like Black Aki, what do you think is one of the darker beasties that you've actually drawn, like on the opposite end of the cute spectrum?
So the reception when I posted the art, I was like, guys, look at this scary thing I did. And then I think I showed my brother and he was like, oh, he's so cute. It's the Urayuli from I think it's in a theme deck in native. It's an earth beastie. So he's like, oh, he's so cute. He's so goofy. I tried to make it scary, but yeah, the backstory of it is like he eats the souls of children. So I tried to give him like, you know, the sharp teeth and make him spooky, but I guess he looked a little bit cuter. I think the blood art too, like the blood grimoire, or what was the other one with like blood on it? I think it was demonic evocation, where they're like wearing the 7 heads.
Yeah.
So talking about the blood art, because I know that Mike had a couple questions for it, but before I forget, did you know what they were doing with the blood art? And I'll let you do a little bit of backstory for anybody who watches this that doesn't know about the blood art. But did you know what they were using it for at that point, or was it just them telling you to do something?
Well, so I was thinking about it like with our fourth wall effects and stuff. I'm like, what can I do in our sets that also like not just breaks the fourth wall with the effects on the card, but with the art itself, you know? So I asked Mike, it was like before we even started working on Seance. I was like, Mike, at some point, can I paint a card in my blood? And he was like, okay, you know? So I was waiting for the right moment when the list, like when we saw the cards, because we don't really know anything besides the name of it usually. So I saw the title Blood Grimoire. I was like, oh, this is going to be perfect. So I was like, okay, this is the one. Like, I want to do this in my blood. And then I offered, I was like, we could do the box like background art with blood too, like to make it, you know, how the whole box is like this like cursed item, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I did the background. Poncho did the assets for the box, and I did the background, and then the blood grimoire. The only paint is I think the 2 colors on there were like black and gray, and then some yellow for the pages, but all the red on there is blood.
Wow, that's freaking. That's
it's the
Seance box
from a lore perspective. It's so crazy that they used that on the booster box art. Yeah, because like I have to have one around. Yeah, because of the different seals that are on each of the sides too, like from the Lesser Key of Solomon. Yeah. So for the fact that it's your blood technically on the artwork, surrounded with the seals, keeping whatever's inside the booster box inside. There's a lot of lore, and it was really cool when we found out that was actually like you said, like that was your blood, because I've been really big about like there had to be blood to be spilt for Scratch to be freed from Seance, and part of that whole idea, that theory, came from you using your own blood for the booster box. Yes. So like, I had to say thank you, because that's huge. That's awesome to me.
Well, that's the goal. So I'm glad that it, you know, like that's the point, is like breaking that wall and kind of intermingling it with the lore and stuff. So I'm really glad that, you know, I'm glad that it I was worried about the reception. I'm like, people are gonna think this is gross and weird, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But I'm glad that the reception was like, whoa, this is something that's, you know, it's cool. So.
I think Mike said something, and he just announced, and he said, I can't remember verbatim, but it was just like, if Afton asks to use her blood on the art, you let her do it, or something along the lines of that. Once I heard that, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a crazy set. And yeah, so, but
it makes sense to do it though in Seance too, in my opinion. Like, I mean, I don't know, it would have been a little odd for you to try to do it maybe in Wilderness.
Yeah, with all the natural scenes and like the cute forest stuff. Yeah. Seance is the perfect, like the binding and everything like that. So
We've got like specifics like coming out.
Yeah, Dad
I
had.
can see the
Yeah.
chat. You have to tell me.
Oh, right here. So
Your knee.
Dad has says, so did you scrape your knee skateboarding and go, I have an idea, or did you prick your finger?
I pricked my finger because it had to be like a whole. So I had finger pricks. I'm going off on a tangent. I'm going to tell you about it anyway. I had in 8th grade, or maybe it was 7th grade, for the science fair, I was like, is blood type hereditary? Obviously it is. But for my science fair project, I was like, let's find out. So everybody, like my friends and my friends' families, I was like, we're pricking everybody's fingers. So I had a bunch of those like sterile kits or whatever left over at my parents' house. So I used the little like finger prick needles there. I had my brother do it for me actually because I don't like needles. So I'd be like, come here, you gotta do it again. But that's a whole thing. So you have to mix it with water and everything to make it last longer and stuff. So
how did you prick your own finger actually in order to use the blood? Did you?
yeah, well, I had my brother prick my finger because I was
Okay.
like, wait,
Is he just pricking it over and over again as you needed it?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the needles are really tiny, but you can especially usually mix it with water because it it extends the use of it.
Okay. That's just funny. Like,
Yeah.
hey brother, can you prick my finger real quick? And I can imagine you over there just trying to paint, and you point your finger out again. And
I knew there was cards that were done in the blood. I didn't know the whole booster was. I didn't know. So now I'm gonna look at the whole booster. Like,
yeah, the flame,
like on the background.
Yeah, all of the flames that are right through here. That's
I was just no.
That's one of the. That's why the Seance booster box is like my favorite booster box I've seen. Is just because of the lore, literally the lore implications the box itself has. Like, it's so cool.
Well, somebody in the chat even said that it just shows like the thought that goes into like all this stuff and like how deep it gets, man. It's that's awesome. Let me see. I'm trying to.
Even more than we know. Like, I'm sure like things will come up in like an art or whatever, and we're like, it adds a whole new layer, to everything, like specific aspects. I think we're going to see a lot of that in war too. Like even being part of the company, learning about like all like how much thought Mike puts into it is it's a lot of fun. I was watching the intro. I don't know if you could see my face watching the intro. I couldn't tell, but I was like gonna get emotional because I was thinking like when we have our show and everything, watching stuff like that come to life. I know it was our logos and stuff, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is so real.
Oh, yeah, and it's so crazy to think too that once the book and the TV show and everything else come out, I mean, we have the Hero Quest comics, I think, coming out this summer. You also have the 7 Seas comics or so coming out then like the winter into the early spring or so. And I keep telling everybody, everybody keeps asking me, like, what do you think some of the key cards are to have? And I always respond with anything Sam, Rose, or Adam.
Yes.
And it's because they're the main characters of the show. And so I can't wait to see the dynamic shift almost in what is sought after once the IP fully drops, once the book, once the short stuff. It's going to be so amazing. Get your ding bells now. That's all I'm going to say. Come back and watch this in a year, and you'll be like, man, I wish I should have gotten some ding bells.
You got to get the Collecticon set of his journey.
I didn't realize how different the Collecticon cards were from like some of the other promos and such. Like it's
from the early days.
Oh yeah, it's almost kind of like the Magic 38 cards. I saw on the back of the box, it actually has the Mothman Printing Company logo on it. So it made me think if they made them like that on purpose because of the first cards that like Mike actually made at home, like printing press style by himself. That's why it was a purposeful choice to make them like that. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I went off on a weird tangent. I'm gonna be quiet. Mike, you talk for a minute.
You always do. Somebody said, "Oh, Joker's favorite. Ding Bell is the real Pikachu." To Sinclair.
True.
It's true.
We'll find out. Huh.
It's true. If you don't
I'm excited for when the show comes out just to see how right Rob's been all along, because I hear his stories like freaking crazy. So I know he gets super deep into it, but I love it.
it's gonna be like because they're static on the cards now, but seeing them actually moving and like speaking and acting is gonna be insane. I'm very excited for it.
Oh yeah.
So what's your favorite set that you've actually worked on? Either main core set or a subset?
Now I'm thinking about all our subsets.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
We did quite a few. The April Fools was fun. I don't remember. I did the wall and the what did I do? Oh my gosh. I know I did 3 cards in April Fools. I don't know why they're eluding me right this moment. The little like red ink splatters and stuff on the cards were really cool. I liked that little addition. In terms of core set, honestly, I think it has to be native, mostly because of how deep the stories were, like doing the research and everything for the creatures. Like there was like, obviously we wanted to do these stories justice, right? Because that was the goal, was to expose people to these legends and lore that they might not otherwise know about. And then 2, I switched from watercolor to Copics, and I was like, I'm never going back. Native, I was like, well, I got to go back. So it was a challenge, but I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. I think as a whole, it's super cohesive. All the art and all the BCs and stuff, I really, really like Native.
Native, I really like Native particularly for 2 reasons, and like we talked about this with Chris when he was on here, and it's the vibrancy of the colors, how y'all just were allowed to turn the hues of all of the colors up to their max.
Yes.
And I'll go back to that in a second. I want to say this before I forget. One of the cool things actually that I really liked about Native 2 kind of touched on what you were talking about, where they're all of the different tribes off of North America, and at least in America, for anybody that's from like Australia, I know we have some European friends that watch. Locally, wherever you are in America, you usually learn about the tribes that were near you, probably like maybe a 50 to 60 mile radius. So what's really, really kind of cool about Native is that you might not recognize a lot of them, but there's always 2 or 3 that you'll be able to pick up on because of where you were raised, in essence.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool, and it's different 3 to 4 per person too, because again, it's all localized. So that's one thing I really like about the Native set. But yeah, talk about a little bit about the color freedom, almost, I guess, in essence, that you guys were given with Native, because it's such a difference between like the other sets.
Yeah, well, I think having the dual aura beasties helped a lot. So like for off the top of my head, Native is a heritage. Yeah. I agree. Some of my favorite stories, I was reading the comment that's up. It's some of my favorite stories that we've told so far with the cards. In terms of like the combinations, right? So like the bird I did is earth light. So I was able to use like the warmer tones along with like the yellows and the rainbows. There were a lot of, well, of course I like to do light aura and I like rainbow. So of course those are going to be the ones that I think of. But being able to mix all of that together, I think expanded the palette a lot. Because with earth, it's, brown, but you add another aura and you get to mix things together. Like the water earth fusion aura that Jet did is one of my favorite cards, just with like the deep blues and the browns. It's just exquisite. But yeah, having the multiple aura types definitely let us expand.
I think the reason I was searching for this is I'm pretty sure this was Akiaboba.
Yes.
This is the one you're Akiaboba.
Uh-huh.
But I'm pretty sure that you signing this card and talking with my wife, because by the way, my wife got to meet Afton at Earth Tower. She was super stoked when I told her that we were interviewing you, and I'm pretty sure that because of you signing this card and talking to her, she wants to learn how to play MetaZoo and wants to get involved in that game.
Awesome.
So thank you for doing in an afternoon what I've been trying to do for a year. You are amazing.
Sometimes that's all.
I can't wait to see how many people you get interested into the game.
I love that. Like that's really what it's all about, right? Like bringing people together, bringing people something that they can share with their friends, with their family, building core memories at our events, or even like opening you know, that card that you've been chasing, that kind of stuff. And I was thinking about it, like I know that there's that new Switch game that came out, and that's like having franchises like that that have lasted so long. That's what we're building here. It's like something that lasts, that really serves to bring people, you know, to bring people together and make them happy. Like that's really, I was thinking, I'm like, I get so, there's so much pressure, like, oh, the art has to be good, oh, this, but then framing it in the way of like, this is really for the people that are going to be receiving it, you know, like this isn't about what people think about me. The point is to bring people joy when they see it, when they use it, when they play with it, when they open it, whatever. So it's I'm excited. I'm very excited. It's been
that
great.
excitement that multiple people have that brings everything together. And like I know you can say it was a little cheesy or so, whatever. The Earth Tower video, the whole thing I was talking about the entire time is exactly what you're talking about like that feeling of family, of like of just the coming to. And we were talking about this actually before we went live about the different cons. And you were even like, you could talk about it. You were even talking about how you actually like the personability of the smaller cons and like the smaller events and stuff.
Yeah,
It's more personal.
you definitely get to sit and, or definitely get to sit and talk to people more and get to know our community. And that way too, like watching the tournaments is so much fun. Like I wasn't at Water Tower, but I was watching it, and it's like the energy, like the electricity, even not even being there, it's like you're rooting for, you know, it's like we're gonna crown our Water Tower caster, we're gonna do our Earth caster, and it definitely brings a different sort of connection that I really like.
You can tell you really love working for MetaZoo. That is,
I love it.
That is for sure.
People get tired of me talking about it, and I'm like, guys, just hear me out. Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. It's such a it's definitely a privilege to be able to get up and do it every day.
And see, and a lot of people still haven't realized yet either. We're still in the early stages.
Oh yeah,
early.
Eventually, you guys aren't going to be at the booth signing stuff. Like, if anything, you'll actually be one of the ones off to the side that actually people have to stand in line by themselves for an hour and a half to go and get something signed. And if you guys can even make it to the cons and stuff, like once MetaZoo really hits in like mainstream more. And that's the thing, is that you could see how it's been speeding up ever since New York Comic Con last year, if you're paying attention.
Man, that was a great event. That was so good. I'm really excited for this year, for both Comic Cons. Very excited.
Justice has a good question. What part of the Wilderness Bigfoot art did you do?
So I did how that whole art worked out. So Jet did the Bigfoot like without a background because it was going to be on the pack arts. And then they were like, okay, well, we're going to use this as a set card. Jet, you need to do a background. And I think she was traveling or she wasn't at home, something like that, but they needed it like within the hour. So they're like, you got to do this background. And so I left it up to her. I did the background, basically. I was like, I did the leaves, but that is the background. And so I left it up to her. I was like, hey, you know, really, it's your art. You can decide whether or not you want it to be a dual credit card. But she was like, yeah, let's put your name on it. Whatever. We'll do like a dual artist card. So she did the main part, and then I just did the background.
There aren't many dual artist cards, I don't think.
Yeah.
Are there?
I've seen pictures of a couple of the really early medals, because I think maybe it was Seb that did the medal and Victor that did the beastie, or maybe it's switched.
Okay.
But there were dual credit medals out there. But yeah, there really aren't. I think it's it's definitely a rare thing. It's not like because it's hard, right? We're all in different areas, different places, so it'd be difficult kind of to coordinate and work together on stuff like that.
Yeah, you'd almost have to like, in essence, do it and then scan it, and then they'd have to draw on top of it, but it would lose that actual I could see that would be very difficult.
And we like everything to be typically in one piece too, like especially when we do the auctions and stuff. So that way it's like one art piece. It's not like, here's your card art, but there's three different parts to it. So we try to do everything on one.
So what is your process kind of like once you're actually assigned a card? Like, how do you, from beginning to in submission, how to take us through that if you can?
It involves a lot of me getting up and walking around and then getting distracted. But aside from that, so if it's a beastie that we already have, typically it's just about figuring out like what the attitude of the card is really. Like, so for the Walmart promos, for example, most of the beasties are kind of more static. So it's not really like an action shot. But if it's for different promos, I'm trying to think, like the LGS Sky Snake promo specifically, they were like, oh, we want him to be shooting fire. So it's a little bit different. Definitely picking like the pose, the attitude, kind of stuff like that, figuring out what aura it is. And then I'll do
you guys actually pick the aura?
Well, like if it's dual or whatever, just figuring out.
Okay,
like,
okay.
Typically, I'm like, I gotta plan everything because if I make a mistake, then I start all over. So I gotta make sure I do it once.
No.
So, but for new beasties, typically, like with native, it was obviously a lot more in depth. It's there's obviously different adaptations that we'll do specifically for MetaZoo, like how our Bigfoot is unique compared to like other iterations of Bigfoot. Finding a way to tie in their story with their design, and I've really like we have like references and stuff with like internally, and I'll like write like their whole backstory, like their attitude, like for the story, like the little guy, the little like trickster guy. I was like, he moves like a marsupial, his tail does this, his ears does this, like, and in his fur, the yellow flowers, I had little flowers in his fur initially, and then I think it was Andy that suggested it. He was like, we'll make it, he's from I believe North Carolina, and he's like, we'll make it the state flower of North Carolina. So the little flowers in his little fur tufts. That's another thing I wrote. I'm like, he collects flowers, he puts them, so there's a whole thing. I like to imagine it as something that's real, and then it gives more, I guess, personality to the art too, and then helps when other people are drawing it too. It's like, okay, so this is how it would act in whatever situation, and it translates, better into the art typically. I hope, at least. But yeah, I like to imagine that it's like this real thing that does all this stuff. For most of my native beasties, I like wrote out a whole thing. I'm like, so it does this, and this design is this way specifically because, and then they're like, yeah, okay.
So what you're saying is, if I ever have a question, if I'm doing a Sam's Cryptic Collection video on a beastie that you've drawn, if I have any questions, to hit you up because you have a list of stuff that happens, just like I write out for all my theory stuff.
Yeah, especially with starting with native too, and going into our future sets, I like have because it's fun, right? It's kind of like character development in a way, and I figure whatever for our other IP, it's like, she put this down, but we're not going to use it. You know what I mean? So if I go too much with it, I'm sure it'll be fine. But it's a lot more fun to imagine them as, because they will be, right? They're going to be real creatures in our world, moving, talking, interacting. So it's going to be, it's really fun to imagine them, how they would act,
And that was the really cool thing about native too, is that it had so many stories that involved them. And that's why I couldn't figure out how to actually incorporate them into theories or anything, and so that's why I started the legendary collection. So like the story of Odziozo and Abominili and the humans and stuff, like, because like you're saying, like there's these amazing stories, and I want to go back and actually see if I can find any on like the proper cryptids from like before native, but like specifically with native, the like, again, going back to what Super Galactic was saying about the heritage, like that's the story basis of them. Like I love the fact that you write out everything about the beasties that you draw. That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's mostly like physical attributes and stuff, because we obviously don't know like how they're going to be used in the story, so it's like his body would move like, like he would walk like this or do whatever, and then of course I have my little, if it's cute, I would assume that it would act cute and stuff. But I'm really excited to see how they all tie into the story specifically. Like this beastie is like serves this purpose, or this one's evil, or this one. Well, obviously some of them you can tell, I'm sure, are evil. But
there was a random question.
Okay.
Here. Is MetaZoo using help from the artist to select or narrow down the selection for the fan art winners?
No, we actually aren't involved in the process at all, just because of like obviously there's a few people from, like, I know Isaac won one of the cards from the initial, and then I believe it was Jet that entered one of the contests. I don't think it was the fan art contest, but it was so there were a certain number of winners, and they picked, I think it was prizing maybe, but she had entered it, and so that's how they contacted her. So it's kind of like a conflict of interest if we're involved in the like selection process, because it could be, that somebody ends up joining the team and then it'd be like, well, the artist did this and they knew them or whatever, especially because we're so connected to the community.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Definitely liked seeing it all, though. I really liked seeing everybody's interpretations of the list.
Well, it kind of makes sense too that I guess Andy and Mike would be the ones that make those final calls too, because I know that all of you guys, after you finish your first initial idea of what it is and you submit it to them, and then if they like it, they'll keep it. If not, they'll kick it back. So
yeah, we'll change.
Kind of makes sense that it would be them. So like, what is I would one of the hardest things about actually trying to draw some of these things, like some of these creatures that there isn't really much info about?
I think it's about, so one of our biggest things is it being iconic, right? So something that you'll remember. If it's too complicated or too, not really eye-catching, then nobody's really gonna think about it much. So it's difficult to make it unique from what you would expect while also making it something recognizable, if that makes sense. So it's like the Earth light bird, right? So the indigenous lore is that it's this big like rainbow bird of creation, this god of creation that has really sharp feathers. So I'm like, okay, I have to incorporate the rainbow in there, but also the browns. So I gave him like this crazy hair, and his the mask that he wears is based off traditional masks from that tribe. With native, of course, we got to tie in like more of the indigenous lore to it, but with other beasties that like there isn't even a reference. Yes, that there isn't even a reference like online for. It's fun to have the freedom, but it's also difficult to really make it something that's going to be familiar. Like a really good example of that is Kelsey's snipe. Like it's not a design that I don't think anybody would have expected from it, right? But it's so cute, it's so unique, it's really iconic. Striving for that is difficult, but when you get it right, it's good.
How difficult would you say it is to, like, if you have to do like if one artist did a beastie and then you have to recreate it in a different way, how hard would you say it is to kind of do something like that?
It depends. Certain beasties are more difficult. Like if they have specific features. I'm trying to think of a good example. It depends, because everybody has their own unique style, right? So certain people, if they do an art for a beastie, like it looks really, really good in that style, and finding a way to translate it to your style can be a little bit difficult, especially with different mediums. Like with Copics, you can go really dark, really contrasty, and with watercolor, it's a little bit lighter, more textured. But we all communicate really, so it's kind of like, does this look right? Should he be looking, this different way? But it's definitely a good exercise in being versatile and like being able to do art from different styles, not really different styles, but like especially like the really dark stuff. When I was doing watercolor, I'm like, I don't know how to get a solid black like to do any sort of dark beastie or a dark card. So
do you guys do that? Like all the artists, do you guys all just review everyone's work and all give input to everybody?
It's more so if we have like a specific question. So like the Copic markers have numbers and stuff. So if I don't know what color to use, I'll be like, hey, like what color did you use for this beastie or whatever. We definitely share internally, just as like a little like, yay, it looks so good, you finished it, it looks so good, or whatever. Or if somebody needs help, like I can't figure out how to sketch to send in this card. We don't really make any decisions in terms of like the final art, but it's more of like a support thing. Like, look, I finished this card and I can't show anybody else, but I'm gonna show you guys.
So is that the big reason why you switched from watercolors to Copics, to the markers?
Well, I had seen them, but because quite a bit of our team uses them, and I was like, I really enjoy the colors. And then too, in being a professional artist, I was like, I have an unlimited amount of time now to really just devote to this, basically. So I'm like, there's no reason why I shouldn't. There's other people on the team that use them. There's no reason why I shouldn't know. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna learn Copics. And I liked them a lot better. It's a lot faster. You don't have to wait for it to dry or anything. And then going back with native to watercolor, I was like, this is gonna suck. I'm gonna hate this. I'm gonna be miserable. But I actually really liked it. It was a lot of fun to get to use that medium again and kind of I don't know, translate it in a different way. I liked it though. Well, because I used I was gonna make my own paint for native using traditional indigenous methods because I was like, how can we tie this into the fourth wall and everything? And then I thought about it and I'm like, I could, or I could, support the community directly. So I believe Kelsey used their palettes too, but it's a brand called Beam Paints, and they're indigenous owned and operated out of Canada. So for native, I was like, I have to use watercolor because I'm using these like naturally made paints with traditional methods and stuff. There was no going back, so I had to do it. So, but I think it turned out well, and the paint was a lot of fun to use.
I didn't know that you actually did that. That's super, super cool.
Yeah.
I love how you try to make like little tiny ties into all of the different sets. Like, do you have something similar to like what you did for UFO and Wilderness? Kind of like how you use the blood for the box, and then how you try to use like the native paints for native. Like, I don't know, just like
I only thought of it with Seance, and now I'm like trying to brainstorm what I'm gonna do for our next sets. I have some ideas, but I'm not sure about War just yet. I got to think about it. But now it's like, we got to do it, right? Because it's a tradition. What is it? 2-3 times as a tradition. So
it's, it's just kind of, I was in my head popped up SCP. Like, I can't wait for the SCP this year. Like, War, I can't wait because of the lore implications, but SCP, I can't wait for because I really hope that all of the SCPs are super dark. I mean, it's a Halloween set, so it will be more spooky, but like, I can't wait to see you do some super, super dark stuff. I mean, like, one of my favorite arts is the Jersey Devil that Jet did at CryptidCon, just because it's so different than what she normally does. And so, like, yeah, I can't wait to see like your version of an SCP. Let's go. I'm excited.
Yeah, I definitely gotta. Yes. I was actually about to mention Jet. I was like, she can do the really cute stuff, and then she can also do like really dark, really well. So
that Jersey Devil print is by far probably one of my favorite things that I own. Just it's so different, so unique in my opinion.
And I almost forgot to bring this up, but so talking about how you do a lot of the chibis and stuff like that. My daughter like loves them. She freaks out when she sees them. So when I got native in and I started cracking release event boxes just to see what the cards were, because nobody had seen them yet, and it's probably going to block it. But the Chibi Gassy made me lose my mind.
It's true.
I freaked out probably worse than my daughter did over any of the other Chibis, and I remember, I lost my mind when I saw that card.
Well, nobody was expecting it. Like, I don't think anybody was expecting Chibi Gassy in native.
It was
it
was on the list, and I'm like, I do all the chibis. I'm gonna let somebody else have a chance at it. And then I looked, and I'm like, nobody's doing it. So I put my name down. Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. I'm excited. I was really excited for people because when the set released, right, there weren't the decks out yet. So I'm like, just waiting for somebody to open one of the decks so I can post about the chibi.
Oh man,
but,
yeah, no, you should have seen his face though. It was great.
It was a lot of fun. Doing the babies is always really fun. It's all fun, but I really like the babies, of course.
So I just had a question. I just forgot what it was. Mike, you talk.
I love how you do that. Mike, you talk.
I had a question, I forgot.
Now, obviously, if you love doing chibis, then the yokai chibi is probably the set you're waiting for the most, I would assume.
Yes, I'm hoping. Oh, yes. I'm excited to do yokai in general, though, just because I personally don't know a lot about it, and from what I've seen and from what I've read, it's really extensive, and there's a lot, like, to the point where there's like certain areas in Japan like dedicated to them, and it's really ingrained in their culture. So I'm excited to learn. Um, I think speaking for myself, and I'm sure some of the team too, like we're really learning along with everybody else with this kind of stuff. Like I had no idea that there were cryptids like local to Georgia. Like when I saw the fan art set, Ultima Haha, the one that Isaac did, I'm like, dang, it lives like it's in Georgia. That's crazy. I'm gonna have to go visit, where it's supposed to be seen, that kind of stuff. And learning with native and everything too. So I'm really excited to see it all.
So were you into cryptids when you were younger at all, or you just or did you just know like the main popular ones? Like
Mostly the popular ones. I was afraid actually. There's that one image of Mothman, the one of the like really famous ones or whatever, where he's like kind of hunched over a little bit, and it's like this really long, lanky looking thing with like a stumpy head and the bright eyes. I remember coming across it on the internet when I was younger and like being terrified of that and being like, oh my God, Mothman is so scary. Like, I can't believe that this is something that's real. But it was mostly, as I'm sure most little girls are, it was mostly unicorns. And then there was a book. Of course, I believe that it was real too. It's something like the Book of Dragons or something. And they had like, you could feel the dragon scales like in the book. And it was written like it was a log from somebody that went exploring, looking for all these dragons and stuff. It had like samples of like the tooth or whatever in there. So I was like, oh my gosh, these things are real somewhere. But it's been a lot of fun to learn about it. And of course, Bigfoot and stuff. There was what was it? There's I think it's Expedition Bigfoot. Maybe there's a show on TLC, and their catchphrase "Gone Squatchin'" is so funny. It was my Twitter bio for a long time just because it made me laugh. But I heard it on a commercial, and I was like, "That's so good."
So what's your favorite thing that you've done so far working for MetaZoo? Whether it's go to a convention or work on something, or what's your favorite memory that you can think of?
That's a good question. I think one of the ones I reminisce about the most is the convention. It was actually before I worked for MetaZoo. I volunteered at the booth in Houston, and it was when Nightfall was releasing, and I was like really nervous to meet the artist and like didn't want to say anything to anybody. And then at the end, I have it hanging up above my desk actually. At the end of the convention, I like made somebody introduce me to Seb and his wife, and I was like, I really like the art. Like, I really like the artist. Like, he's really cool. And so he gave me one of his Sam prints. So I have it hanging with some of the other artist prints above my desk. And at the staff dinner afterwards, like staff volunteer dinner afterwards, I believe it was Mario and Ted. They were handing out CN1 packs, like one for each person. And it was like my first MetaZoo pack I'd ever opened, because I hadn't gotten any before. I was like, I'm gonna buy some MetaZoo, like I'm gonna do this and that, whatever. I just hadn't opened any yet. And so it was a reverse hollow Mothman, and I was like, is this good? And they were like, yeah, it's really good. So I have it in my binder still. It's like one of my favorite cards.
Awesome.
But meeting everybody for the first time, and like I think I just like seeing people there and then seeing them later, it's just it's like everybody became so familiar after that. And when they were handing out the trophies, I remember seeing the trophies and watching everybody sign the trophies, and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Like,
do you know if are you going to be at Flame Tower, and are you going to be at Kansas City?
So I think Kansas City overlaps with one of the Comic Cons. So I don't know which I'd be at. In terms of the Flame Tower, did they announce the location for it yet? I'm trying not to get
No, not yet.
Yeah.
It depends on the location for that. It's typically like if it's closer or whatever, like for the Texas event, there's so many artists that live in Texas, and then I think Lily lives in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I figured you guys were probably going to be splitting for Kansas City and SDCC, because it's like the weekend before or so. So like that would be brutal if you had to go to one and then directly to SDCC.
There's like a day overlap, I think. Maybe it's I'm not going to say the exact day because I don't remember. I did look it up, though. I think it overlaps or something like that. So I'm not sure.
Summers are busy.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, God. I remember last summer, it seemed like you guys were traveling every other week or so, somewhere different. Like,
Love it. It's so fun. I like getting to go all these places that I've never been before, even though it's, around the US. It's a lot of fun. I really like, I didn't care about them before, but I was seeing penny press machines everywhere. And I'm like, we go so many places, I might as well start keeping pennies. So now I keep 2 quarters and a penny with me in case I see a penny press machine when we're traveling. Because I'm like, we go so many places, I have a little book and everything I keep them in.
I mean, that's smart. It's super easy. It's only 51 cent. Sometimes.
Yes.
I mean, maybe $1
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you're at. So is that one of your favorite things actually about working for MetaZoo and everything, is being able to travel so much, see so many people in the community, go to all these different events and things like that?
Yeah, it's definitely not something I would be doing otherwise. One of the biggest reasons why I was pursuing occupational therapy is because the woman I knew at the time that had worked as one for like 30 years or whatever, she's like, you don't have to stay in one place. Like you can go, like hospitals need OTs temporarily. You can work in facilities, whatever. So she said that she traveled around when she was younger and just kind of worked wherever they needed her for like a few months at a time and then left. So I'm like, oh, cool. I get to travel and like, like I really don't have to commit to staying in one place. And so it just is what's the word? Serendipitous that it worked out to where I get to travel with this job too and kind of just go all over.
That's awesome. So how long does it usually take you from getting an assignment to actually having it finished?
So we'll go with total working time because like I said, I'll do the sketch and I'll send it and then either it'll be approved or whatever. And then I'll do the pencil line work and I'm like, I'll go get a snack. And then like 2 hours later, I'm like, oh God, I gotta go do the line work. And then I'll do the line work. And then I'm like, I'll go walk my dog. And then I'll do something. So total working time, probably depending on the complexity, like 3 or 4 hours maybe. But I work on like multiple at a time and then I'll get up and then I'll go do something. So I get distracted a lot, but total.
Crazy to me. Like Chris said something about the same time, and that's just so crazy you guys are able to bust it out like that quick.
It definitely didn't used to be that way. When I started, I was definitely a lot slower, but once you get used to like the format and kind of not really what's needed, but like what's expected, it's like, oh, well, we're going to do this card. It's for this, it's this, whatever, so it probably needs to be formatted this way. So it kind of helps a little bit. But at first, yeah, I was also, taking me forever. But
which what card would you say? So I know you guys get revisions, right? If you do something, they'll send it back and ask you to change. Which artwork would you say you had the most revisions on, where you like had to keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking?
This butterfly, this one right here, officer. This is the wing hawk.
Really?
Probably like 20, 21 revisions.
What?
So many. I'm probably exaggerating because at the time I was like, nobody has it harder than me. I have to change it. I just know it was like, it was obviously important, right? If it had to be this really specific way. So I remember like, just like being super emo and like, I'm not going to be able to do this art. Like, it's not going to be good. Like, it's just not going to get approved. And now it's all done, right? I'm so glad that it turned out the way it did. And like that, they were so involved in the process of designing it because it's like this pink and purple sparkly butterfly, right? So murderous butterfly. But yeah, that was definitely like, the Walmart Piazza 2 went through quite a few revisions. And I was like, I've gotten over my dramatics now, but that was the first project that I actually had like pushback on, to where it was like, with anything, right? It's just like sometimes you can't just get it right. Like you can't get it coordinated, you can't get it right to be able to match the vision or whatever. And I remember calling my mom it was encrypted con. And I was like, I can't do this job. I'm not good at I can't do this art. And like, it's really hard. And she was like, go inside, just go finish. But yeah, I definitely got over it now. But at first it's like, this art just isn't good. Like it's not going to work out. But I love like Wing Hawk now is one of my favorite cards that I've done after all that. I think it turned out. It's nice to have extra eyes and ears and another mind on it for sure, because the feedback that we get like from Mike and Andy is sometimes stuff that you wouldn't think of, but that it ends up translating so well onto the card. Definitely appreciative of that.
What would you say is the card that they were most involved with? Kind of like how I was blown away when Chris was telling me about how involved Mike was on the Adam Ackler card. So like, do you have a specific card kind of like that?
Oh, Wingok was like it needs to be this specific, this. We're walking through it slowly. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I definitely think Wingok was probably the most involved. And I think we're going to see more of that in War too. But
I can't wait to see who you guys get in War. I can't wait to see who comes back in War.
Yeah.
Yes. We're not going to talk about War though, because I'm not going to get you in trouble.
The Casters Cup stuff too, because I did the promo and the trophy for that. I changed the trophy a bunch. And that was a lot of pressure too, because I'm like, this is gonna go to what? Because usually we don't know what the card's for, right? But I'm like, so this is gonna go to the first person to win our first ever Casters Cup, and there's only gonna be one. Oh, so I was like, when in doubt, make it pink. So I made it pink. But yes, that was involved in the Casters Cup promo with the orbs, because nobody knew what they were at the time, right? So to make sure the orb was like matched to the beastie of the same aura type and everything. But yeah, that's usually my thing. It's like when I don't know what to do, I'll just make it pink and put sparkles.
So we talked about this before. I can't remember who we talked with about this, Mike, but we actually did talk about the Casters Cup promo and the orbs actually being shown months in advance before UFO actually came out. Now, were the orbs based off of what you originally had done for that promo, or kind of was there already an idea of the orbs, or were the orbs already finished because of the timeline of when UFO would had to go to a print?
The way the timeline worked out, they were already finished, so I used the existing arts. Yeah, I ended up having to switch them. I think I did one wrong. That's what I'm saying. See, that's why I plan everything out now, because if I do it wrong, I have to do it all over. I switched the orbs on accident with the wrong beasties, so I had to do it again with the correct orb.
Oh no.
Yeah. I still do redos though. Like for native, there are a couple cards that I did. I did the Yehasuri 3 times because I did the background. I'm like, nope, hate it. Then I did it again. And I was like, nope. So I did it a 3rd time. I was like, okay, this is fine.
That little bugger was one of the hardest ones to try to figure out for native. It hunted me for months. I couldn't actually Yashuri. I couldn't figure out the name of that one to save my life. Almost everything else with native spoil wise, I was like, yep, got that one. But that dang little opalescent moss gremlin thing, man, you can tell. You to ask Mike. I would just tell Mike. I can't figure it out, man.
We would talk, and he would just be like, "This one is this one, and this one's that one because of this and this and this and this and this and that." And I'm all like, "Well," I'm like, "I bet you that one's Rainbow Crow." And he would. At first, you were like, "No."
Yeah, at first I thought it was Akielabopa. Yeah, at first I thought it was Akielabopa, and then realized after I'd already released that video that it was actually Rainbow Crow. And
hold on, is that how you actually? Is that actually how you pronounce that one?
Oh yeah, is that actually correct?
That should be. I believe that's the pronunciation on the card. Yeah, we did all those little guides so that there were.
So
I read it wrong then because I always say Achialabapa. So it was like I'd always say it while I was live.
Well, it was one of the few, like the ones that I did the theory videos on. It was so hard finding this. I'm not even lying. I would make sure that I was actually not only just pronouncing it correctly, but pronouncing it correctly by the tribe. Because there's a lot of times where, and I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but there were a couple times where most people would pronounce it this way, but the actual way that it was pronounced by the tribe was a completely different way. It's just like it was really hard trying to figure out how to say some of these cards without actually having the phonetics at the bottom of them. Oh my god!
I remember when you started saying It's not Piazza bird. It's Pie-Saw bird.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that one.
I can't say that though because it's Piazza.
I've got like a third of the community now actually calling it Pie-Saw bird, and I'm like, yes, let's go. Our numbers increase each day.
Oh, look, Afton's even confused.
No, I know. I've seen it multiple times, and I'm like, the Piazza. I still read it in my head as that, but yeah, it is. It is. You're right.
I mean, it will be forever Pizza Bird. I mean, that's just there's nothing we can do about it. Just like how like the community embraced Squonk, the community embraced Pizza Bird, and we're stuck with Pizza Bird now, no matter what.
Slowly,
I still can't get over the fact that you actually write out the descriptions for the beasties of like how it would move and interact and like wag its tail and like that's so awesome to me.
Yeah, it definitely helps with the design. Like I did a few like online character design courses or whatever, and it's a lot of it is imagining it as if it were real helps you design it better, you know what I mean? So there's obviously like the internal lore and the like story, the legend behind it, that kind of thing. And then when it translates to a real living creature, it's like, well, how many fingers is it going to have? Like, how would it, when it's got its, like with the birds, like when they have their wings extended versus when they have their wings like together, thinking about that kind of anatomy is a lot of fun. So, or like how it would stand, how it looks with its mouth open, stuff like that.
It won't show.
Can't see it.
Here, let me turn the brightness down.
I love though how like even when you're talking about how why you do all of these things, you're focused though on how it would be affected from the TV show or from like the shorts and things like that. Like that's kind of cool that you almost take that into consideration before like as you're designing these things before you submit them, because it's going to be really awesome in my opinion. And I know that some things artistically will change just because of one medium to another, but it's going to be really cool to actually see specific things that not just you but all the other artists like created with these beasties, specific features of them actually being incorporated into the overall design of the TV show. Like that's pretty cool. I mean, it's always a loss for words when thinking about it, just because it's almost like immortalizing a little bit of you actually in that show then too, because it's I don't know, I'm interested to see how they're going to take, because each one of you have your own different art styles, and I'm really interested to see how they're going to take all of the different art styles and incorporate them into the show, because yes, it will be stylized a certain way, I imagine. But like I said, there'll still be certain little features or characteristics or something like that from the cards, from the comics, from the booster boxes, from all of these different products that you guys have illustrated, incorporated into the show. And I'm super excited for that.
I think about it. I'm like, I'm gonna cry when I see it. I know I'm gonna be so like it's gonna be like emotional just seeing any beastie just like moving, existing, doing its thing. It's gonna be so cool. But yeah, taking into account like when you draw something from a head-on angle, it has to be able to turn, right? You have to be able to see its features from the side, and you can design things to where it only works like flat. So making sure that it can be three-dimensional, like you were saying, for the IP as it progresses is important. Like, okay, this looks cool, but can you put it in a 360-degree turn, basically?
Yeah, and that's kind of like actually, honestly, what you Mike and Armored Prince have been doing with taking like the actual artwork. Yeah, like the Baby Wendigo, the Wendigo right there. They've been actually taking the artworks and then turning them into like almost 3D renders.
I'll have to send you. I have a video. I have a video, and it completely circles the entire Chibi Wendigo, and I'll have to send it to you. It's pretty.
It's pretty awesome. Fingers, just four little fingers. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like to see it.
And that's kind of like almost going off of what you're talking about too, because without you guys putting that type of thought into it, it would be, they'd have to literally recreate it completely instead of being able to assume exactly how it would operate on the backside. So that's just it's kind of cool. Well, full circle, everybody, full circle.
Yes.
I know. I already.
Yeah.
I was about
That's
to
great.
highlight it too. Yeah.
Dean
Oh my
says he's
gosh.
still waiting for the pizza, the
We
pizza
do
bread
have there's
collab
the
with
profile
Domino's.
picture. The profile picture of Piazza. I've seen it. He's made a pizza. I love it. He's like melty. He's like cheese melty made out of pizza with some pepperonis on there.
Where's Slippy Napkin when you need him, Nate? You need to jump in
Yeah,
here. You need to
yeah.
get a big old cookie cutter style like
Yes.
pizza thing that's in the
I
shape
did
of pie saw.
I did the pizza moon on the Chibi Wendigo card. I remember
It's
that.
honestly probably one of my favorite card signs ever. If you haven't seen it, go to Slippy Napkin's Instagram
It's a
page.
good idea.
So amazing. You put the mushrooms and the green peppers and everything
All
on
the
it. Like
things. Yeah.
he kept telling me he was like, "That's awesome." He'd be like, "Ooh, I got another idea." And you'd go back in there and you'd sign it again, and then be like, "Oh, okay." And you went back and added another one. Like
It makes it fun. I like doing stuff like that. When people have like a specific thing, or there's somebody's like, "Here's an aura, draw on it." I'm like, "Yes, I will. Yes, I will do that for you." I love it.
I'm showing off now, but like that.
Oh yeah,
Right there.
I remember.
Yeah. That's like, she was like, "What do you want me to do on it?" I was like, "You do whatever you would like. I'm just honored to actually get you to sign it." So actually, you go back up there. Yeah.
I thought I was grading that like a long time ago.
Okay, it's not going to stay there, so I'm over here. Anyway, hi. Do we have any questions or anything from anybody here in the chat? I appreciate
chat.
all you guys
I
sticking
can
in
figure
here.
out how to see it, but just highlight over
Look,
what he's asking. I'm in like I'm not on YouTube. I'm in the thingy comments. Oh,
there you go.
I see it. Hi guys.
Hey, all right. Now, Alec Taylor has a question. Does Afton collect the MetaZoo PFPs?
I have been meaning to buy one. There was one I saw that sold, which is I did the Loveland Valentine's print. Actually, the person that ended up owning the profile picture, because I saw it, I'm like, oh, it's so cute. I love that one. I'm gonna have to buy it, and then I forgot, obviously. But it's it's like the Loveland Frogman Valentine's, and then it's the pink background. It's really cute. I love there's certain I like the ball, obviously, but like specific ones, I'm like, I'll just wait till that one specific one comes up for sale. I love the statue Hodag with the moss. Like I love our profile pictures, but I love any of the pink ones. So specifically the Valentine's frog. I was like, I love it.
Dalton wants to know, which I think you probably already answered this. What is the hardest card decision you've had to make?
Hardest card decision.
Actually, I don't know if you have answered this one. I would assumed it would have been Wingok, but yeah, I don't know if we actually. That's a good question, Dalton.
Hardest card decision. Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to think one that gave me difficulty or one that I like maybe scrapped that I liked. The demonic evocation, I wasn't sure how it would be received. Not that it's that dark of an art, but if you kind of look at it, they're like summoning a demon wearing severed animal heads, and I was like, I did that art, and I also did the blood. Like people are gonna think I'm a Satanist or something, Like think stuff about me, but nobody did. So I think it might be my aggressive obsession with like unicorns and pink stuff and chibis. So that might be why. But there's been a few where I have done a concept. Well, even with like Akiela Boba, I did a concept and they were like, yeah, okay. And then I'm like, I don't think it's good enough. So I did another one and they're like, okay, do that one. And then I'm like, I really just don't think like the design just wasn't there. So I'm like, so I did it again. And they were like, you gotta stop changing it after we approve it. But I'm happy with how it turned out now. But it was really difficult to make sure that it was, I don't know, it just didn't feel right in the first few times I did it. It was pretty an idea for war, you could use ash or charcoal. I was thinking about that. I was looking at the people that do the gunpowder art, and then I'm like, I'd probably burn, like I'd singe parts of my body off if I try. You know what I mean? Like the people that they lay gunpowder down and then they light it and it catches the thing on fire or whatever.
I might need you to do me a custom picture if you don't use gunpowder, because I just had a brilliant idea, and nobody take this, internet.
I won't do it for you, right?
A Mothman card or Mothman print using gunpowder ink.
Yeah, see, that'd be cool.
Awesome.
I thought about incorporating that somehow. I need to figure out a way to do it without blowing myself up, or otherwise like burning off my like eyebrows or something. So I've thought about it, but yeah, there's definitely some.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, soot from a fireplace or something would be way
Yeah,
easy.
I do it outside for sure, like outside. I've seen the people though, they lay it out like painstakingly, like they'll lay the gunpowder out and then light it, and then it'll create like a picture. It's really cool. But also, like, where do you source gunpowder? You know, like, do you get a gunpowder guy? Like, I don't know.
Whenever we needed actual and like even like you could try fake gunpowder potentially too, like some sort of a prop. But I mean, you could probably get gunpowder actually from like a gun store or something like that. Because when I worked over at like Lost Colony Outdoor Theater Style, we had to use gunpowder for some of the shotguns and so we would actually get it and like one of the big old tubs in order to make the shotgun shells.
One gunpowder, please.
I mean, yeah. In essence, it's pretty much what you have to do.
Bloody Bone sketch is my favorite piece. Yes, the person that bought my Bloody Bone sketch card is here. I've had it since October, and then he bought it for me at Earth Tower. It literally had been traveling around. I have this little deck box that I keep like my sketch cards in, whether or not like I sell them or whatever. And it had been like just been traveling around, like sitting on my desk with me. I was like, someday somebody will take you home. And then he bought it for me at Earth Tower. That's one of my favorite sketch cards I think I've done, because I put like myself into it, you know. And it was dark. You don't usually do it.
It was dark. Somebody asked, what is your favorite art from another artist?
Ooh. I really, obviously Unicorn. That's a good question. I mentioned it earlier. I really like Snipe just because of how unique. Like when I saw the design, I was like, God, it's such a good design. Like it's so unique. It's not, you know what I mean? Like most things you can say like, oh, it references this, or like it's based off the anatomy of this, but everything about it is so unique. How he has like his little pocket to carry his leaf and stuff. It's just really cute.
Imagine how Chibi Snipe is gonna look.
I know.
Right.
There's a lot of things
I mean, there would have to probably be a Chibi Snipe.
Would love, yeah, really any beastie in a chibi would just be like, yes. I could probably pick one from each artist. It'd take me a while to think of specifics. There was a few in Native that I really liked, and now for some reason I'm blanking on. Like, there's some that made just such pretty hollows. It's definitely hard to pick favorites, though. There's a lot that are like, when you look at how much thought was put into them, it's like inspirational. Like to me, you know, as a team member, it's like motivates you to do better, to like elevate that kind of stuff.
Oh no, hands down, no. And
when we talked to Chris, he said that one of the artists can draw something, and just by looking at it, you can tell which artist did it.
Yes.
Are you the same way?
Oh yeah. Yes. I obsess over our stuff too. I'm like always making lists and like checklists and like making folders for us for stuff. So I have the drive, like right now I have our art drive open on my computer, and I'm like, yeah.
So wait, does that mean that we have to do a round 2 stick figure contest?
That's what I was going to say.
You can actually.
What is this?
Figure.
What is
it? So when we were interviewing Chris, he said he could do that. So I said, hey, any MetaZoo artists in the chat right now, draw a stick figure and send it over and see if he can identify. And they all sent like random, Pancho sent one with a knife, and like
of course.
It was awesome.
It's actually a question I had. That was the question I kept forgetting was would she be able to do the stick figure test?
I don't know about the stick.
I know it was a bold claim Chris made. He was like, stick figures. I can figure out who they are just by those. And I'm like, no, that's bold. He was able to do it twice though, at least, I think. Like, I mean, I don't count Poncho. Poncho's had the knife, and if like, oh, that's
Yeah. I wonder who it could be.
I don't know. It's a stabby stab. I love how he does all that. Like he's primarily the dark person now. That like I love how I love how he's really like you can actually see, and to gush about Poncho for a second, you can actually see the progress he's made since the beginning till now, and the detail, like, and not to make a pun because I know he scratched, but the devil is always in the details. That is something that was taught to me when I did theater, when I did design, and you can tell the detail that he puts into his stuff. So like, huge shout out, Poncho. Huge shout out.
It's it's even if you don't realize, like, just doing something every single day, you're gonna get better no matter what. And that's one of my favorite things. I think I don't remember who I mentioned it to, but seeing everybody, like, that's why Native was so good and so cohesive, right? Because the more we work together as a team, the more we do, the better it gets. And it's so cool to see. Like, I opened I had to open it because it had a rip in it. I had a Nightfall box, and I was like, "Oh no, it's ripped. I have to open it now." It's so cool to see the progression through each set, like of everybody elevating, everybody adding another level to this or doing this, and even in like the prints and stuff that people do or the sketch cards, there's always something new, something interesting. It's just it's cool to see that development and that growth for sure.
Did you actually go to the retreat last winter with everybody?
I didn't. I was in Puerto Rico for when all the artists went together.
Yeah.
Yes, I went to Puerto Rico.
Okay. How was that hanging out with everybody?
Well, I didn't go. I went to.
Oh, you didn't go. See, I thought you did. See, I did the same thing with Chris too. I thought that like, so you didn't get to go either. Okay. I want to know more about the mysterious trip. It looked like everybody had a blast. They were really quiet for like a couple days.
Yeah. It's our events are a lot of fun, especially like I think the only event that every single person has been at was Dallas Casters Cup. Or no, yes. Yes. Maybe New York Comic Con too. I don't remember if anybody missed Comic Con. Maybe Seb wasn't there. But yeah, it's cool when everybody gets together and like.
Was Saban at New York?
Huh?
Was Saban in New York Comic Con?
Yeah, NYCC.
Oh wow, okay.
It's not really like sitting around and just like drawing isn't really something you do in most contexts, especially like with just like regular friends, you know, because it's like I'm gonna sit here and draw, and it's like, okay, well, we're gonna do something else, you know. It's cool in that sort of environment where it's like I'm gonna draw, and it's like cool. I also am gonna draw while we're sitting here, you know. But yes, I anytime there's winter, I flee to the south. So I was like, I'm not going north. I'm gonna go where it's warm. So I didn't end up going.
Oh man! All right, one day I'll talk to somebody who went to that elusive retreat. Anybody else have any other questions? Oh, they're talking about the vibrant colors in Native.
Will Native bordered sketch cards be a thing? I don't know if I'm actually allowed to answer. I don't know.
Oh wow! Right
Let's
here.
see.
There we go.
I would love that. So I'm gonna say I hope yes. But as of right now, we don't have any. I still have most of my, like I showed this box earlier. I get too scared. Like I get too nervous to do them. I still have most of my official sketch cards. Like, hold on. Like I still have most of them because I get too scared to do like, I don't know. I'm like, if I mess up, I can't throw it away because I'm not going to get another one. So they just sit in my. If anybody's wondering why I don't usually post that I'm taking commissions, that's why.
I didn't realize they actually made you guys sketch cards like that.
Yeah, they're cool. They say artist sketch card. They have the logo, and then on the back they've got like there's a glare, but this is one of the wilderness ones. But it says like done by. There's a space to sign. It says 1 of 1, and it has like the like copyright. So these are like official.
Is there anything that's I would say off limits, or I wouldn't necessarily say, well, I will say both, like off limits as far as MetaZoo will allow, or Is there certain things you guys won't do on your sketch cards because of another artist or anything like that, or is it kind of just free, like?
So with the official sketch cards, because they're branded, they need to be I guess the word would be consistent. So I can't do like Purple Mothman or something like that because it's on like an official product, and they'll be like, wait, is that like a thing? You know what I mean? And then obviously any sort of like other characters from other IPs, that kind of stuff. People as casters, because there's also the implication of like if it's on an official sketch card, then like I exist in the universe or whatever, that kind of thing. There's a little bit more flexibility with the unofficial cards. So like, or even like just regular sketches. Like I did those super chibi beasties. Like that's obviously not something that we would put out. Like they're very stylized. The Bigfoot and the Frogman, where he's just like really lumpy and just like stupid sitting there. The one I posted on my Instagram, that kind of stuff we have like more leeway with, just because it's like, you know, we're kind of I consider it when I do that kind of stuff, I'm like, I'm making fan art of our own art, but it's not necessarily a bad thing.
So almost kind of like it has to be established in order to be able to actually do anything with it. Kind of like you can't create lore in essence on those cards.
Yeah, and like we wouldn't be able to do like if there was like a yokai that isn't out yet and we were to draw it on the sketch card, people would be like, as like that hasn't even been designed or we haven't even decided we're doing it, then it's like, oh, it's real, you know? So, and I think most of us stay away from doing even like just for fun, like drawing cryptids and stuff, just because if we do end up putting them in the game, or if they end up surfacing later and we design them, that it'll be kind of like a weird like a weird thing. It's like, well, I drew this a while ago, but it wasn't official, and now we're doing it again or whatever. So
it's funny you actually say that, because there's been a couple times, I think the only one I can remember right now is I think it was Chris when he actually did the Templar's Sky Snake sketch.
Yes.
I straight up asked him, was like, is that lore? Did that happen? And he's like, no. This is something I did by myself. This is not MetaZoo lore. And so I completely get what you're saying right now, because that
it can be confusing. So it's like, yeah.
We try. That's the thing. I used your cards, I use your illustrations in order to try to figure out what the storyline is until the show and the book come out. And so, like, yeah, you do something like that, and it makes me lose my mind, and it has not. It's not real. So, yeah. So I get that. Yeah.
Do you ever get fan art? I actually don't think I've definitely seen a lot of fan art. I don't necessarily think that I've received any. Yeah, not that I know of. I really like seeing people, like when people tag me on Instagram and stuff, or if they'll show me at the conventions, I really like seeing everybody's interpretation of like my beasties, or even, you know, just other arts that we've done. But I don't believe, because if I did, they'd probably be on my wall. I don't have any. So I was thinking about it. No, I don't have any.
somebody actually from TCG Island on the Facebook group, you better set up a PO box, because they're like, where can we send you fan art? Now that you said it, people, just like how Chris is now that, hey, it's Chris, that guy from construction, you got to set up a PO box, because people are going to send you fan art now.
I should, yeah, because I thought about it before, especially for mailing things. I should. Maybe I will. If I do, I'll put it on my Instagram. I'll say that I got a PO box. Don't mail me glitter. Don't mail me glitter bombs.
Now you're gonna get those blow up ones. That
do not put that juju on anybody, Ricky Bobby. You stop right now. No glitter bombs here. Oh man, no. This. Oh my God, I would lose my mind if I got glitter bombed. That's why I don't have a PO box, everybody.
Yes. Compton Bigfoot. It just says Facebook user. I can't tell who it is, but that's funny.
That guy, that's Compton George right there. He goes by Compton Bigfoot.
He's watching from Australia, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's part of the MetaZoo Nation Australia crew.
Well, yeah, I think it was Dallas. There were people that were here from from Australia. It was fun. We got to hang out.
Probably
with
this guy right here. He said he hung out with you at Caster's Cup.
Yeah, it was fun.
MetaZoo partner Dean with
Played
MetaZoo.
dart, yes, Dean. Yeah, played darts and stuff. A bunch of the artists were there and stuff.
Oh, New Zealand. My bad. Okay, nice.
Yeah, New Zealand. Yeah.
Okay.
Any beasties you created that other artists don't do well? I think it's the opposite. I think there's beasties that I don't do well from other people. Pretty much when I look at the team, I'm like, they're all great and they can do anything, and I just need to do better, basically. But I really think our versatility is a really, I don't want to say unique, but it's a really valuable asset that we have, like, in terms of the whole team. Like, we do something, you obviously, like, if you need something, you ask questions, like, we'll do reference sheets and stuff. But really, I don't think I've seen, like, anybody that isn't able to do something that somebody else did. I mean, obviously, I'll get stressed sometimes when I have to draw, like, something difficult from somebody else, but I really like seeing other people's interpretations of mine, if that makes sense. It's like collecting it in my head. Like, I'm like, "Ooh, there's this version of this one, and there's this version of this one." Like, there's these cool little iterations, especially in the different styles. Yeah, I don't know if there's any that I've done that might be just difficult in general. I try not to make them really difficult or really complicated. I don't know.
Do you have a tendency to accidentally make things cute, like Chris likes to add dragon tails to everything?
Yeah. Like the beastie that eats children or whatever in Alaska. Anytime I showed it, they were like, "Oh, he's so goofy and so cute." And I'm like, "No, he's supposed to be scary." The whole point.
Where did I put? Hold on a second. I think I know which one that is. Hold on 1 second. Where'd it
Yeah,
go? Where'd it go?
I tried to make him creepy, but he ended up just apparently being cute. So
I think I actually have that card right here.
I should have the art for it somewhere here on my desk.
Maybe. No, it's not the right one. Oh, I'm curious now because I want to. Oh, it might be one of the two that I haven't actually seen yet.
He's from the theme decks. Let me pull him.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't had a chance to look at the theme
I have my storage binder, which is like compared to all my other art just sitting in the big folder. This guy that I tried to make scary, but he just ended up being like not really that scary.
That's awesome.
I was like,
wait, is he a smile? He's smiling.
He's smiling. I don't know. Yeah.
How is it supposed to be scary if it's smiling?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who I showed. I showed somebody, and they're like, "Oh, he's cute," and I was like, "No, he eats children. He's scary." But alas, one of my few Earth cards too. I don't usually do Earth aura stuff, so.
No, I do love how you guys each support each other, and like if you have a question, like you guys, like Chris was telling us about the chat, and you guys are always in the chat helping each other out. If you have a question or showing off something in order to get a suggestion on how to do a specific, so I love that. Again, kind of going back to that whole theme of like family. I love that whole sense that there is no. I don't want to say that there's no competition between you guys, really. You guys are literally there to help each other, to help support all of you guys and bring you up. And I really, you can tell that from an outside perspective. You can actually tell that the art team, there is no it is a literal team. It is all of you guys coming together. That's unique and very super awesome, in my opinion, to actually see from an outside perspective.
We fight when nobody. No, I'm kidding. We don't fight. Yeah, it's definitely a good resource to have. And then too, I think I mentioned earlier, just seeing people's work is motivating because it's like, this person's doing this new thing or this person's doing this new thing, and it kind of motivates you to, what's the word? I guess elevate. Kind of. It's very motivating, but not in a negative way, in a positive way. It's like, wow, we're all doing so well. Like, this art's good. I got to make sure that like it's all cohesive and everything. So yeah, definitely I think it's Poncho and Seb, I ask most frequently. I'm like, what color marker did you use? Okay. Okay, now, okay, what about for this part? Okay, for this. And then the other day, it was the 3, I have like a color chart for all my markers. I don't own all the Copics yet. There's like 380, I think. It was the 3 specific ones that I was missing. And I'm like, I'm just gonna die. Like I can't, I have to do art. And you told me the colors and I don't have them. But I figured it out. It's not out yet, actually, the art that I was asking you about. It's for something, but
What do you think was the beastie that you did not expect it to actually blow up, in essence, like for it to become a fan favorite?
Chibi Grim, he's so dumb. He's so dumb. Yeah, but I mean like in a good way. I mean dumb as in like he's just like a little idiot. You know what I mean? Like when I did him as a fan art, and I was like, how? So he's deaf, but if he was a baby, he'd be like this little dummy that like kills things, but he's a baby and he doesn't know, right? So I'm like, he's just this little nugget with like, I call them his fork fingers because they're like really like sharp or whatever. And I'm like, because I created him like as a little, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be funny, nobody's gonna care, whatever.
So wait, time out. Did you create Chibi Grim as kind of like almost a throwaway?
I just didn't. I was just something I did for fun. I'm like, oh, this would be cute. Like if I made Grim Chibi and like he's death beaming a little flower. It was the first art I did of him is where he like death beams the flower and then he's like, yay. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be so dumb. Like not dumb in a bad way, you know, but just like he's this little like he has no idea what he's doing, like this little clumsy guy. And then yeah, I was not expecting. He's just a little rectangle with some fingers, you know? So I'm glad that people like him though. I like him. He's just a little baby. And I imagine he moves like, I don't know. I'm excited to see how they interpret, like if he does end up in the show or whatever, I'm excited to see how they interpret him. But yeah.
What would you say would be the one on the opposite end, the one that you thought would blow up but actually didn't?
No, I did it as that was one of the arts that they saw, I guess, before I worked for them, that they were like, yes, we love this. And then it ended up being in the Valentine's Day set. And I'm like,
oh no, I'm asking which one do you think on the opposite end
that I thought
you thought would blow up and actually didn't?
That's a good question. What beasties did I do in UFO? Or in Seance? What beastie did I do in Seance? Oh, I did the phantom elephant or the ghost elephant, the pink little elephant. Of course, when in doubt, make it pink, right? That was also a reference to the pink elephants on parade from
Hello.
Yes, that song.
Nice. Oh, I love that.
Pink. But it was on the banner and it was before the set was printed, and so I was like, people are gonna like this little cute elephant guy, and he's on the banner or whatever. And I think he's in a theme deck. It's kind of like, I think I signed 1 or maybe 2, but I think regardless,
I love that that's a Dumbo reference. That's why I was hoping it actually was. I really was.
He's like a little ghost elephant. I should draw him again. I say that a lot about a lot of things. We have like hundreds of beasties. I'm like, I should draw that, and then I'm like, I should draw this other one out of like however many, you know, and then I just don't. So
you got to work on War and SCP and all the other random mini sets coming out between now and November.
Yes,
but yeah, you should draw the little pink elephant again though. I love that it's a Dumbo reference.
Grim. I remember the Chibi Grim sketch card. If it's the one he's talking about, it's where Grim is on top of Chibi Bunny Man and he's waving, but he's accidentally death beaming as he's waving and killing a butterfly, and it's like disintegrating in the. It was one of my first few sketch cards I did actually. That's the one that Zach is talking about. I do remember that. I remember all of the ones that I've done. There was one in watercolor too. That was back in my watercolor era.
That initial reaction though needs to get clipped. I swear that was awesome. He said, "Oh, Chibi Grim, he's so dumb."
I know, but I mean it in a good way. Like I call Squonk. I'm like, Squonk is such a fat little idiot, but like, you know, he's just like, they're so cute and like just that's my tenets. Like I remember one of the people on the team was like, any tips for drawing chibis? And I was like, make them dumb, make them like really clumsy, and make them fat. Like basically, like as if they were useless little babies. So,
I was gonna say make them look like they're babies because that's pretty much the description of a baby.
yeah. Like when I did the friend token where Squonk is just like sitting there. And I think when I sent it in the art chat, there was that trending audio for a while that's like, "You're a stinky baby." And I was like, look at this fat, stinky baby, like just sitting back there. So I mean it all affectionately. I do that. They're all my little babies. All my little babies. I love them. Yeah, I really enjoyed making Chibi Grim. I was like, this is so fun, but nobody's gonna care. And then people did. So yeah. At the Earth Tower, I had you doodle. Did you when you did with Zovitz, but I noticed you're not listed. No, I didn't collab on it. I just I think I don't remember what aura it was that I signed, but if it was like a Darker in Earth, maybe that's why I did it on there. Oh, or it was really it was being played at the event.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'll put Zovitz on there because he's in. Was it in the winning deck? I don't remember.
I don't think so. No, I don't think Abel Jacoby. I think
he wasn't running the Giants, right?
Yeah, he went with the Tommy Knocker build and actually used the whiteout. That's so intense, man.
Yeah. So no, that was the design and everything was Bruins, but it was a popular card that the Giants was the Giant event. So I put it on the aura. Also just a good design.
Zavowitz came in. He was he was one of the MVPs in the Earth Tower, in my opinion.
Yes.
Oh man, Earth Tower was so much fun, but I got beat so badly. Oh, got beat so badly. It was so bad. Learned valuable lessons though.
See, yeah, that's what it's all about. Confused when I looked later, but I love it. Yeah, of course. I was saying earlier, I love when people ask me to draw on auras. I'm like, ooh. You know that little raccoon, the picture of the raccoon where he's like,
yeah.
It's my reaction when somebody asks me to draw on an aura. But yeah, if it was an earth or a dark aura, that might be why too, because it was popular at that event. Somebody asked me to draw a caribou mother, which, by the way, I also love that beastie because it's a big pink deer, pink caribou. But somebody asked me to draw it on one of the auras, and I was like, ooh, this is so pretty. So I did it on another one, I think, too. So there's a couple around there. Saying I faced top 16 people my first 3 matches. Oh, no.
Golly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as
it was fun. It was brutal because of Native only coming out 3 days before. So it was just a big old slugfest. I still have to release the interviews from the players that I talked to on day 2, and that's literally a common theme is that it was just a big old slugfest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There are people that were like, I'm really excited. I'm doing well. Like game 1 that came, and then like a few hours later, it's like I got destroyed.
Dean keeps going on about drop bears. He tries to bring them up on everything.
I have a drop bear. I bought one because I was like, I love the ambassador promos. I have both the ambassador promos.
I can't believe Dean hasn't given me a drop bear yet.
He wants you to draw a drop bear for him. I think I've seen him say it once or twice so far.
I can, yeah. I did. There was somebody in Australia that bought a print for me, and I think I put that on the envelope. I put drop bear on it, but I don't remember when that was. I know I've drawn one at least.
I love that you all do that too. You customize and personalize the envelopes or the boxes and stuff like that. It's super cool, and it's really cool to actually see the people in their Instagram posts or other things like Facebook posts where they're like, "I can't believe I don't want to mess up the picture, the painting right here in order to get to the thing that I bought." It's like I love the little details you guys put into the stuff like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I try not to tape over it because I'm like, is somebody gonna be mad? Like if I tape over it and they try to keep it, but it depends. Also depends how nice.
Knife and start cutting it out.
Yeah. Caribou Mother, Turtle Island, Chibi Babe, and Chibi Gassy. Nice. I love drawing on the auras. See, give me some auras and I'll just draw everything on them.
I still need to. I haven't actually sent it to Mike yet, but I still need to send Mike the TCG Island aura that I got you to sign.
Oh yeah, the island, yeah.
Oh my god, freaking awesome. I have it. I don't know if I have it here. I think I actually have it.
I put some stick figures on there.
And maybe TCG Island?
Yeah, maybe. You don't know. You don't know what's actually depicted. Yeah. I remember that too.
I wish I would have actually been FaceTiming him though when I told him about that card, because I can only remember what his face was, because I sent him a picture of it and he immediately called me right after.
I lost my anything personalized like that. Like, it's not value, none of that stuff even matters, because the value is just in like the memory now at that point. So it's like, yeah, I have quite a few TCG Island, shouting out TCG Island on the card.
Yeah.
But I've never had one that says like it written out, like arrow pointing down and all that stuff.
Well, it's crazy too, because like, I kid you not, even Chelsea said it. It was not next to her, like, because she was standing there on the table talking with you, and it was not next to her right hand. And then literally like 30 seconds or so before we were about to leave, it was there next to her hand. We honestly have no idea where that card came from or how it got there.
Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, when you're looking for something and it's not there, and then you look again and it's like teleported.
Yeah, like there, because what was strange was that it was the only card next to her hand, her right hand on the table. And we honestly, we have no idea where it came from or how it got there. So it was just cool little side story, actually, about the whole process of getting that card signed for him.
That was fun. I remember that. Yes, magic is real. Exactly.
Magic is real.
Exactly.
Man, I wish I had more questions. I can't think of anything else to ask you to keep you here, because I don't want to. This is awesome. Anybody think of anything in the comments? Throw it out.
Let me know when you get your PO box set up too, so when we print the Chibi Wendigos, I can send you one.
That'd be awesome. I have a lot of little figurines on my desk. I have little unicorns. I got a really tiny, got like a mini little tiny little horse thing. A bunch of stuff. It's yokai. It's a yokai. It's a yokai.
Are you saying the card is a yokai?
Well, somebody said, what card? I don't know. We did have some yokais. We did some on the postcards. That was a while ago though. I think one of our first initial postcards. I was like,
I don't have any of them, and I'm so mad that I didn't actually buy them when they were like $4 each inside the marketplace.
It was the first MetaZoo product I think I ever bought, because they were on the marketplace, and I was like, what can I buy? I was like, I had just bought my house and I was out of college and everything, and I was like, I'm poor. What can I buy? So I bought one of the postcards. It's in a box somewhere, but it's the umbrella Casa Obake.
Did you actually start collecting the cards and stuff like that after you started working for MetaZoo?
I was afraid to spend any money on anything. So I had some friends that were like, you should get some samples. And I was like, $100. I don't know. And now
$100. All right, $100 for a sample.
So I was being very conservative, and now I wish, of course. I think some of the first cards I bought for myself I still have them. They're all reverse hollow Kickstarters. It's Kickstarter Hoopsnake, Menehune, and Piazza, I believe. And they're like, those are the first cards I purchased. I was like, these are some singles like at auction. I'll buy them or whatever. And then quickly it has accelerated from there. I love collecting our stuff. I love collecting the medals. The tops has been really fun to open. What else? Really anything. I bought some samples. I have a few samples. After I was like, I don't know, about $100, then I bought them,
a couple $100. That's cool though, because I only have like 3 Kickstarter hollows or reverse hollows, and one of them is a Menehune too. So Menehune, actual club. I love it.
I know, I like it. It's like a memory. I haven't really opened any Kickstarter, because at the time I don't remember how much the boxes were, but I was like, I don't know if I can spend it on that now, of course. But I opened a pack. I bought a pack from Stash Loot on their stream. I think it was at Emerald City or Chicago. I don't remember. I think it was Emerald City. And I opened it on stream, and it was a Hollow Babe. So that's my I think first Kickstarter like pull that I opened for myself is the Babe. So I have it's in my drawer actually. Cards like that I keep like close just because they're special. So, but yes, I love our cards. I love collecting our stuff.
The entire franchise, the world that actually is being created right now. I can't wait to look back in
Yes.
3, 4, 5 years and actually just see how. And that's that we were talking about this before too, about all the like the little hidden stuff and everything. And it's so cool to me to be able to go back and actually relook at some of these cards after other stuff has come out and it completely makes sense. Like the theory video I just released today talking about the Intergalactic Space Council. I never actually, I've been wanting to put that together, telling who the 5th one was for a while now, but I had never actually understood why Flatwoods, actually, if you look on the card, like Flatwoods right there, actually, it looks like the line is red, whereas like the other two are purple and then the other two are yellow. So it's like Flatwoods actually has voted against humans. Wouldn't have made any sort of sense until the top set that just came out with Loveland Frogman fighting Flatwoods Monster.
Yes.
So like it's the little tiny, like again going back to say the devil's in the details, and it's the little details like that just make me.
Yeah. It's there's so many levels. Like I said, like a lot of stuff that we don't even know yet, just because like what is it? Sometimes too much is not like too much information isn't a good thing, you know, especially when it comes to like our creative process and stuff. So like a lot of things too, we'll find out later, and it's like, oh my God, it makes sense. Like why we put this here, why we did this, whatever. But I love those kind of connections and stuff. And I'm sure like there's even a few in my art that people haven't. There was somebody specifically asking about one of my cards, and I was like, I don't know. You're gonna have to figure it out. I don't know. There's definitely some stuff to be discovered still, which is crazy. But yeah, there's many layers.
That's
what
keeps me doing it. It keeps me in it.
Yes.
All those different ideas and how everything comes together and everything.
I remember I went into Discord one night and I looked up and I'm probably saying it wrong, but the Yahasuri.
Yes.
That one. I remember because that was one of the arts that was spoiled, but there was no information on it. And I was like, I gotta know who the heck that is. And then so I posted it in the chat and you answered, and I was all like, can we know this person's name? And then Andy popped right in. He's like, no, you cannot. No spoilers. So I
Shoots me down all
had
the
to
time,
wait
man.
until it came out.
Will you be at Fire Tower? It depends where it is, and like when it is. Like if it's somewhere like central, probably it'll be the artists like that live like centrally or whatever. Just depends. I don't know. I'll go to really any event that they're like, hey, come to this. I'm like, okay. Have you done any secret rares? I did the meteorite pin for Pin Club, the meteorite serialized, and then I did the
Sky Snake.
The Sky Snake, and then I believe somebody pulled a serialized Wingok from Seance.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen.
There's probably other ones that you can't tell because I know, especially when it comes to Seance, they're not all the secret rares have been pulled.
Yeah, I don't know that all of them have. And then they're the alternate version, which those turn out amazing. The alternate arts, the serialized alternate arts in native.
Black Demon. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was the alternate art of the Black Demon was Isaac, the space rare Black Demon.
That's true, Dean. Yeah, there's still 4 there's still 4 in UFO that we haven't seen yet either, too.
Wait.
I gotta look and see which 4. I'm not gonna list them off, but let's see which 4 haven't been seen.
See, I got you back.
We talked about the Black Demon movie. It's based off. So Black Demon's design is based off. I believe her name is Lucy. She's a real shark that divers know because her fin is ripped, but she's like a really, really big shark. So that's why in the card art, like the fins are ripped on the shark and everything. It's because it's based off that. I think she's a great white. I hope I'm not butchering her specific lore, Lucy's specific lore. But from what I remember, yeah. The foreign language from UFO.
I have an idea, but I can't fully explain it until I do the timeline video because it gives too much away. So So I think I got like 2 more. I got at least one more one more theory video before I can do the actual timeline video, because then I can just do a full, this is what I think it is from Cryptid Nation till now. I've been promising it for 3 months. I promise I'm going to do it.
Time flies, honestly. Time goes by so fast. You're like, I'm going to do something, and then just 2 weeks later, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Well, the story, again, too, with like the story not actually being fully fleshed out, like what we know, like everything just still being like in theory,
Right.
it's still, it changes to where, like, I was fully convinced that Adam was actually trying to free Old Scratch in order, or make a deal with Old Scratch in order to bring M back. But now, actually looking at more of the seance cards, I don't know if that's actually the case or not anymore. Like, especially like using the tower, for example, because they're literally standing there looking at Loveland Castle with being on fire, and it's Adam and it's M. So I'm giving away too much already as it is. Like, anyway, things change, things evolve, and so that's why I have to keep making more of the theory videos before I do the timeline video, or it just won't make sense. I guess, I don't know.
Makes sense.
Lucy the Great White Shark. That's what
Yes,
Joker
yes,
said.
yes.
Okay. But yeah, I can't think of anything else to ask you to keep you on here. I feel bad because I don't want you to go. I've had so much fun talking with you.
Yeah, me too. I'm so glad that I came on. I saw your message and I was like, yes, 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 yes.
That was one of the first things I did in New York too. When I mind you, all right, just so to make fun of myself, I walk out of the gala and I start talking to Afton, Isaac, and Michael, and not realizing who they were at first. I just started talking to them, and then I lost my mind when I realized that it was the 3 of you, because we had been talking for a good 5 or 10 minutes before I was like, wait a minute, time out. You guys are the artists, and they're like, oh yeah, all casual and everything. So yeah, as soon as that happened, I was like, all right, I gotta get you guys on here, because yeah, just for anybody that wasn't at Earth Tower, anybody that came up to actually talk to either of the 3 of you, it was awesome, because you guys were always engaged with them. You were always talking to them. You were always, you could feel that you were excited to be able to actually talk to people. So
it's a lot of fun.
I don't know. I love, like, again, going back to the whole feeling of family. I love the whole vibe that you guys have, because thankfully now I've been able to meet most of you, I think, since CryptidCon, Water Tower, and Earth Tower now.
Yeah.
So, and it's been nice to actually be reaffirmed every time that, again, you guys always bring that positivity. You always try to actually lift up the community, and that's just super appreciative.
I was gonna say, because it seems like with MetaZoo for their artists, it's almost like there has to be a certain personality too, because it's like all of you guys are just so down to earth and just normal people, and just
as far as you know, no, I'm kidding.
But it's just cool, because it's you as far as from my perspective, nobody comes off as like, you know, oh, I'm super popular now, I'm better, you know, like, it's nothing like that. It's still just like regular old people, and that's like the coolest part about it.
It is,
and that was actually something that Mike and I talked about when we first started actually talking about trying to bring some of you guys on, was that our goal was to show the community at large that you guys are just normal people that love what you do, love the franchise, love each other, and just really care about this community in general. And it's super awesome. Like I said, it's super awesome to actually see that, because come 3, 4, 5 years or so, we might not have this sort of like personal connection with you guys that we have now, just because of like whatever happens with MetaZoo, with it becoming as big as it eventually will be. So I don't know, it's kind of cool to actually be in these moments where we can have these like conversations and get to know you guys better.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about like the timeline. It hasn't been that long, but it feels like we've been, you know, in a good way, obviously. It feels like we've been developing this for a long time, which obviously Mike has, right? Like he's put like an insane amount of thought into this. But, you know, we're only a few years old at this point. So it's really exciting to see where the future is going to take us.
Yeah, for sure.
Just that short time period too, with everything that's came out, it's like, it's just it's mind blowing. It's gonna be hard to keep up. That's all. That's how I don't know. It's yeah.
I keep saying it's a big snowball that's already tipped over the mountaintop.
Oh
it's
yeah,
slowly
and
picking
it's
up speed
just
as it comes hurling down the mountainside, and it's going to go directly. It's not gonna. You're not gonna be able to stop it, and it's just like it's gonna just take a little bit more time. You're not gonna be able to stop it whatsoever. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's because same. That's my favorite part of MetaZoo is the connection we can make with everyone in the community and the company at large.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, that's what it's all about, really. I mean, what is it without the community, without the connections?
Justice has one question. Have you already started working on war art?
I don't know if we can say
Okay, no war questions.
art.
Art.
I'm working on art.
Art. She's working on things, beautiful chibis and other beautiful BTs, and writing out descriptions of how they work and how they move and how they act. And I love that aspect. You have no idea. I'm going to be geeking out about that for a while now. I love that. Because you're the first artist that I've talked to that's actually talked about actually trying to figure out, like put in the words exactly how they would in essence operate, and that's exactly what I do. So I love that you do that. Like still geeking out about it.
Yes, especially tying it in with like our existing like MetaZoo world lore and stuff. It's a lot of fun, and it's cool to build off of that too. Something that already is determined. So
yeah. Do you have any closing remarks, Mike? Because I can't think of anything else.
No, I thank you for coming on. Thank you for
having
all
me.
the insight. Thank you for what you bring to the table. Thank you for just being a part of MetaZoo. It's awesome, and I always look forward to a new set so my daughter can freak out over chibis and stuff like that. So it was yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. I had a great time. I seriously was excited when you messaged me. I was like, yes. Oh, and it's live. Yes, people are gonna get to ask questions. So I'm very happy that we did this.
I can't wait to get my CryptidCon Chibi Babe promo.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I can get you to actually sign that, because I have decided I'm going to actually get every version of Chibi Babe. So thank you for Chibi Babe. Thank you for coming and doing this, for talking with us, like explaining your process and about like I can tell it's so awesome actually to be able to tell how excited you are to work for MetaZoo. Like it just exudes from you, and you can tell. Like it's super awesome to be able to see that, how excited you are. And yeah, I'm truly honored for you to actually come up here and talk to us for a bit.
Well, thank you.
Of course. But yeah, that's it. I can't think of anything else to keep you here, and I wish I could. I wish I could.
I'm sure we'll talk again at some point.
For sure. But yeah, this is Let's Talk MetaZoo. My name is Turmentic. I got it right. I got it right with the points the first time. That's my man right there, Mike Ciano from TCG Island. And our guest, of course, was the wonderful, the amazing, the beautiful Afton. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for what you do, and what you're going to be doing in the future, and as everything. Like, thank you. And once again, like, thanks for just coming on here and talking to us.
Of course.
All right, well, that's going to be it for the interview, I guess. I can actually let you guys know, because we have actually scheduled somebody for next Monday. We're ahead of the schedule. So we're going to be talking to the Rusty Ranger, or Claire, next Monday. So definitely join us. We'll be live again at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, once again, Afton, like, thank you. I can't wait to see you again. And like, again, I can't tell you how excited my wife was when she found out that I was interviewing you tonight. Like, she absolutely loved you. Do what?
I should tell her I say hi after this.
For sure. That's all great. But again, yeah, this is Let's Talk MetaZoo, and until next time, you guys have a wonderful night.
Later, y'all.
Bye.